What happens if a situation arises that you were unprepared for? A situation such as a blizzard, a tornado, or being locked down due to a virus. Put yourself in any possible situation that could arise. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Where would you go? What do you need? Are you ready? Because what if tomorrow? Welcome to another episode of the What If Tomorrow podcast. I'm Philip.
And I'm Mark. And hey, guess what, folks? Unlike the On the Fringe show last week, I actually played the right intro.
Awesome. I missed that one.
It was
Awesome.
It was tragic. Then it wouldn't let me play the right one. It was great.
Oh, wow. I bet it was listening like, oh no, what show am I listening to?
Yeah.
Yeah, tonight, it's been a while. Last time we were supposed to come on, Mark was feeling sick and I had something else going, so it was just easier to not do it. Tonight I'm kind of sinuses and all that good stuff because this wonderful weather we're having. Last week it was minus 25 wind chill down here, snow. I think we got probably 11, 12 inches of snow here at my place. And today it hit 70. So
my
sinuses
77.
are all jacked up.
Yep. Allergies kicking in. It's great.
Man, it's crazy because we're rolling up on March.
So we'll be coughing and hacking and snorting, and it's going to be great.
Yep.
Putting Vicks on camera, yeah.
Right. So I want to touch on this, guys. Everybody in the chat, everybody that's listening. You guys know how I'll say me because I've kind of, I feel like I've driven it more with the AI stuff. I've just really been into it. Well, I got to messing with that Grok on X. I've been addicted to X more than I have any other social media. Because it's pretty awesome. I think. So do us a favor. If you're not following us on X, I haven't posted a lot. I really don't know how, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. But we are on X for What If Tomorrow. So look us up, follow us over on X, help us grow there.
I'm pretty sure I've been posting our episodes on there.
Yep. Yeah, our shows go there. We've got 31 followers, or 7 followers. I'm following 31. We got 7 followers on X. Help us grow that. I want to start posting more on there when I get it figured out. But I was messing around with Grok. And if you're not familiar with Grok, it's the X AI, and it supposedly passed the Chinese AI that came out here, supposedly surpassed ChatGPT and all whatever it was, blue sky or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. But I just in there and I wanted to read this because I felt that it nailed us. And I read it to Mark backstage when we were chatting. And is that your opinion too, Mark? It hit us pretty good.
Yeah, they nailed us dead on. They're both the pluses and the minuses. They got us.
Yeah, they did. They got us for sure. So I just want to put it on there. I said, I typed out. I said, is the What If Tomorrow podcast a good podcast? And the answer is whether the What If Tomorrow podcast is good. Depends on your interest and what you're looking for in a podcast. Hosted by Philip Knight and Mark Bannon, it dives into speculative scenarios like what if an EMP hit or what if Yellowstone erupted, alongside discussions of current events and preparedness tips. It's got a casual conversational vibe. Think 2 guys riffing on the end of the world over a beer. They often tie in practical advice like how to prep for supply chain issues and occasionally bring on guests like authors or experts to mix things up. If you're into survivalism, hypothetical disasters, or just enjoy brainstorming worst-case scenarios with a dose of practical know-how, it might be right up your alley. The hosts seem passionate, and their focus on real world prep, like plugging EMP shield or emergency supplies, adds a grounded edge to the what if premise. Episodes vary in focus, from current events to deep dives into dystopian possibilities, so there's a bit of range. On the flip side, it's not polished or heavily produced, and it's not. You guys know
It's
this.
not.
Um, more raw and unfiltered. That's it. Some might find it meanders too much or leans heavily on the host's opinions, especially when they veer into political territory, like their election 2024 episode. Audio quality and pacing can feel do-it-yourself, and it is, which could bug you if you prefer slicker podcasts. Reviews are sparse, but the Apple Podcast description hints at a niche appeal for those curious about chaos and how to survive it. If that sounds like your thing, give it a shot. Maybe start with an episode like Back to the Beginning or Supply Chain Collapse to see if it clicks. If you're not into prepping or prefer tighter scripting, it might not hold your attention. What do you usually listen to? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah,
That's just off that simple question. I did not type anything in saying, "Hey, I'm one of the hosts," or I just put in there, "Hey, is it good?" I wanted to see what the opinion was of an AI, and I'm going somewhere with this, because we did an AI episode here a couple of weeks ago, kind of talking about things. But it is, hey, what's up, Enzo? Good to see you, man. Enzo said it sounded about right, and it's the truth. I mean,
yeah,
we're unfiltered,
good and bad.
We're not scripted. Yeah, and what I type in there, it sounds like you guys pretty accurately does, Chris.
Yeah.
Hi,
honey.
On here, I put on, because we're throwing around some ideas, maybe some taglines or something to add to it, kind of add to the quote unquote brand or whatever. And so I typed in, I said, what is a good tagline for the What If Tomorrow podcast? And I want to see what you guys think. So it says a good tagline for the What If Tomorrow podcast should capture its blend of speculative disasters, preparedness, and conversational grit. Here are some options tailored to its vibe. Says, when the world breaks, we've got your plan. Says, punchy, practical, and hints at the prep focus. Tomorrow's chaos, today's answers. Ties the what if hook to an actual takeaway. Disasters coming, let's talk it out. Keeps it casual and grounded in a host chatty style. What if, why not, how to. Short, rhythmic, and covers a speculation to survival arc. End of the world, one beer at a time. Leans into their laid-back, everyman tone with a smirk. And the last one is prepping for the unthinkable, unfiltered. Nods to both the raw delivery and the survivalist streak. So I thought some of these were pretty good. We may try using them. Something like that. I'm not sure.
Some of them are really good, actually.
I like some of them. I like Tomorrow's Chaos, Today's Answers. I mean, that was a good one. Yeah, I like that one. I like most of them.
Honestly,
like when the world breaks, we have your fix.
I like that one too. I think Grok is smarter than I am.
I do too. I agree. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. I mean, I like the premise. I like the thoughts behind it. And where I'm going with this, hold on. Sorry, I've got to keep drinking something because my throat's getting dry and scratchy. Where I'm going with this is, I don't know if you guys follow Elon Musk on X. I do. He posted yesterday that we are on the event horizon of the singularity. I wanted to bring this out because I think it's important, because what that means, a singularity, is when AI surpasses human intelligence, starts moving into super intelligence, basically. Surpasses AGI, or general, artificial intelligence, goes into AGI, which is advanced artificial intelligence. They're speculating this happening before 2030. And this ties in with what happened last week. The world changed last week and nobody's talking about it. Very few people. I've only heard one other person talk about it, and that's where I found out about it. But I brought this up with Mark before, in the backstage. But Microsoft said they invented a new state of matter. I'm not convinced they invented it. I think it's always existed. We just discovered it. That's my opinion on it. But they're calling it, let me find it here real quick. It calls it a topological state of matter. And I'll read this article. It's on Digital Trends. I can't even talk. The headline is, this was written on the 19th. It says, Microsoft created a whole new state of matter to make its quantum chip. It says, in Marvel's Iron Man 2, the protagonist Tony Stark creates a new element to power the arc reactor in his chest and the mech suit he wears in the superhero mode. It remains one of the coolest cinematic scenes for sci-fi fans. Microsoft has managed to achieve something of the same caliber in 2025 by creating a new state of matter. Earlier today, the tech giant introduced Majorana 1, the world's first quantum computing chip. A breakthrough that has set the whole tech world abuzz. The company spent years building the chip, which entailed numerous breakthroughs, but none sound as impressive as developing a new state of matter. There are 3 fundamental states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas, and 2 exotic forms that we know as plasma and the Bose-Einstein condensates. Microsoft has created what it calls a topological state of matter. This breakthrough required developing an entirely new material stack made of indium arsenide and aluminum, much of which Microsoft designed and fabricated atom by atom, says the company. The company technically created a new variety of particles called Majoranas, which lends its name to the quantum chip it powers. So far, this state of matter has only existed in theory, claims Microsoft. It's a hybrid derivative of 2 main components, an aluminum strip acting as a superconducting unit, while its semiconducting unit is made out of a chemical called indium arsenide. When cooled to near absolute zero and tuned with magnetic fields, these devices form topological superconducting nanowires with the Majorana zero modes, MZMs, at the wire's ends. The fundamental block of quantum computing is a qubit, which is analogous to the bits that are at the heart of classical computers. For the Majorana-powered quantum computer, the MZM serve as a foundation material for the qubits. Now, qubits can be created in various ways. Microsoft iteration relies on what the company refers to as topological qubits. At the heart of the Majorana 1 is a topological core that can be scaled to 1,000,000 qubits on a single chip. Thanks to the innovation, Microsoft says it's en route to developing the world's first fault-tolerant prototype, FTP, of a stable quantum computer in years and not decades. Notably, the company is undertaking the mission as part of the government's underexplored system for utility-scale quantum computing program run by the Defense Advanced, or run by DARPA. Go figure. That gives you a warm fuzzy, doesn't it?
DARPA's been responsible for a lot of good and bad in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't
the
think
foundational technology is.
I really don't think they're trying to be good or bad. I think they're just curious.
I don't disagree. The foundational technology is proven, and we believe our architecture is scalable, notes the company. Microsoft says the advancement of quantum computing will dramatically speed up scientific processes such as the discovery of new drugs, creation of self-healing materials, agricultural advancements, and more. For example, Microsoft's work on quantum computing alongside experts at Case Western Reserve University has already helped with developing cancer scans at a much faster pace and improving the precision of identifying disease signs. These developments offer potential to revolutionize medical diagnostics and treatment by enabling early detection of diseases like cancer and, more importantly, the synthesis of new medicines. Google is not too far behind with quantum computing endeavors of its own. The head of its quantum division, Harmit Nevin, recently claimed that real-world applications of quantum computing will be here within the next 5 years. So I think this is going to run or speed up AI. I mean, I don't think there's any way to avoid it.
No.
I know last time the last show we did, we spoke on AI, and maybe this is a little short of a continuation. I know we're doing a free for all tonight. We're just talking. There's so many things happening. That's happened in the past month. Just it's going crazy, and it's hard to keep up with. So we're just gonna just lay it out there. But I do know that last time, we were trying to figure out a way to prepare for AI, and it came across a show I was listening to, and it makes sense, regardless of what you think of AI, good, bad, indifferent. I personally think it's a double-edged sword. I truly believe the only way to prepare for AI is to use AI. That may sound counterintuitive. We were talking, but I think I brought up bushcrafting, because you're gonna hide in the woods or whatever. But I think learning AI is more feasible because it's going to be a huge part of our world. I think you need to have an understanding of it, and that's where I'm at. I'm at the infancy of a slight bit of understanding, trying to wrap my head around it, see where it's going to take us. Us Gen Xers, or I think beyond. I think Gen Xers will have a better chance than Boomers or whatever, But because we've kind of lived in both worlds, millennials and zennials, or whatever you want to call them. I think about my children when it comes down to this AI. I mean, my children are still kids. My youngest will be 8 here in, a week and a half. They're going to live in this world. They're going to have to know how to use it, and they're going to have to know what to be wary of. And I really think we as a whole will be better off using it, trying to understand it. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It does.
But to me, it kind of does.
My thought on it is since AI is learning from us, it behooves us to try to use AI in a responsible and moral manner so that it learns how society works and how it needs to work with society. Unfortunately, I see people abusing AI all over the internet, using it to cheat, all sorts of things. I'm not sure I approve of that. I mean, I don't approve of that, but there's been a lot of things that I think is good and a lot of things I think is bad. And I think we need to those of us who want to use it responsibly have a responsibility of trying to teach it to be responsible. Does that make sense? I'm not making much sense, am I?
I would. It does to me. No, it makes sense to me because and just while you were talking about it, I was thinking, I was like, we have talked about it several times on the show.
Yeah, at least 5 or 6 times.
And again, this really isn't an AI topic. Yeah, but I think it's important because to start, I think everybody saw it more as a novelty.
Right.
But the closer it gets, I think the more serious it's going to be because people are going to realize, we're too far gone. And I think we're there. I think we're already too far gone. I think we crossed that threshold a long time ago.
It's past the point of no return quite some time ago.
I agree. So we're going to have to figure this out, find good ways to use it, be a moral and upright people. And I think that may be the downfall. Because who's programming? Who is... and I did hear... who I can't remember who it was. But somebody was asking this Grok that if anybody has put limitations on it. And it kind of alluded to like Asimov's laws and all that. Do no harm, whatever they are. I don't remember them off the top of my head. But it was then asked, what's to stop you once you advance so far, to these constraints? These are man-made written constraints. And it replied something along the lines of, there's always loopholes. And think about that. I mean, how human is that?
That is.
How often are people looking for loopholes?
It is.
I just wanted to bring this about. So I wanted to kind of give an update to that, because to me, it's kind of scary, kind of exciting, because we don't know where it's going. But I think it's going to take more people using it morally to get it to understand, hey, this is
how
the way
people are
people
supposed
should
to act.
act.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So sorry, I'm over here coughing up a lung.
same here.
Yeah, 3 laws of robotics. A robot must not injure a human being or through an action allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey what the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. But I guess my hang up is what if Grok, and Grok is the one that is saying that it has limitations like Asimov's laws. As fast as everything's advancing, what's to say these bad actors, from a different nation or whatever, they're trying to make it happen so fast because they know whoever gets AI first wins.
Right.
Because there's no stopping it. Which I would argue there's no stopping it now. It's already out there.
Yeah.
It's on all our devices. It's there. It's learning. It's been learning for years, and now it's becoming exponential. But what's to say these bad actors don't try to rush it through and throw caution to the wind and say, let's get it through. Don't worry about it. It'll control it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it comes out and says, well, the only way to save human race is to eliminate the human race.
I mean, there's lots of science fiction out there that has followed that line of thinking, for those of you who want to check it out. Or to enslave mankind to protect mankind.
Right. Right. I mean, we're all just guessing and speculating. I think everybody is, even the people that are working hand in hand with this thing, trying to develop it. They don't know what's going to happen.
Nobody has any idea what's going to happen.
Right. And kind of like the Manhattan Project.
Right. Are we going to blow up the world or not?
Right. Well, let's just keep going. But
they're actually taking bets on that
point to where we. Yeah. I think we're already past the point where we can't just stop, because it's not going to stop itself.
Mm-mm.
That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Nope.
Anyway,
the scary thing about that is the only thing that could stop it is an EMP or a CME. Then it stops everything else.
Yeah. Right. So we go back to the Stone Age. Unless you drive a 1970s truck or whatever.
Or a horse. The Amish will be fine.
Right, they will be. I think people need to learn from the Amish. They really do. Go back to the basics. Provide for yourself. Speaking of, I mean, we're coming to the time of year where if you're going to have a garden and you're going to plant starts, now's the time. Start prepping your ground, get it ready, because here, what, 3 weeks, it's going to be time to plant potatoes. Or I guess in our
Yep.
zone, we're like zone 6B, I think. It's going to be
my,
time to start
my
planting.
dad always said St. Patty's Day.
So, yep, that's usually when we get our potatoes in. We try to hold back off of like plant starts, like cabbages and stuff like that, because we usually get a late frost
Right.
and it kind of wipes them out. But it is what it is. Yeah, what a way to start the show. I mean, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. Well, not trying to be either one right now, just trying to be informative. Like I said, I am in the infancy of learning about this because I feel it's that important.
Right.
Get a
And
grasp on what this thing can do.
that is what makes this subject so interesting. Is it could be good, it could be bad, just nobody knows.
Right.
So,
Right.
pardon me. I'm
So
sorry.
I'm
I'm
going to ask
coughing on
in the.
everybody.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm going to ask in the chat, what do you guys want to talk about? Is there something that you got a question about? Is there something that you want to comment on? Maybe that we can look at or whatever. I mean, this is a free for all. This is for you guys too.
Yeah.
And I would like to do just a Q&A show. Engage. Here in a month or so, or whatever.
Yeah, those are
just
fun.
Engage and talk about things. They are.
We've done those before.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our best shows, actually.
Yeah.
So, at least more fun. Veggies can be good or bad.
They can, Ken. I agree. They can be good or bad.
Have you watched VeggieTales? Vegetables are always good.
Right. And Mark, you brought up all the aviation incidents.
Near as I can tell, there's been 14 since the beginning of the year. It's like there's one every other day. Seems like there was one today, I believe. Wow. So, I mean, I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, it's
is it
who knows?
The end of the world? Or?
Right. There's a lot of finger pointing going on. Well, it was Biden's team, it was Trump's team, or DEI, or whatever. I can't say it was Trump's team, for the simple fact that it happened the day the new transportation secretary, the one there in D.C., the one that flew out from Wichita from ICT.
Right.
That was the day that he took over. But everybody's, it's his fault. It was his fault. Well, let's stop again. I mean, we're jumping to conclusions. We're politicizing everything, and it's ridiculous.
Right.
We've been having issues in the aviation industry for the last couple of years.
That is true. That is true. There's even been movies about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just is weird.
I want to say, yeah, but I want to say, and I'm not 100%, so don't quote me on it, but I want to say that the number's really not that much different than normal, except now it's a political tool.
The news cycle is making it a political thing. That makes sense.
Right.
So,
because they're reporting everything, every incident, and they're all tragic. If somebody dies, they're all tragic. Especially, for those of you that don't know, Mark and I live in this world, in the aviation world.
Yeah, we sure do.
I was a mechanic. I was a mechanic for almost 20 years. I've just moved over to the inspection side. Mark's, you've been a mechanic for what, 6 years now?
6 years
Something
now.
like that. And plus, I mean, I was military aviation. I know Enzo was military aviation. So we live in this world. This is the world we live in. This is what we do for a full-time job. Plus some, I mean, the hours we work is more than full-time. So I want to speak from some point of expertise, whether that's very credible or not. I've got, Lord, 25 plus years turning wrenches on aircraft. Um, is it, I don't believe one way or another that it's really the government's fault.
No, and I just posted up here. It's kind of small to see, but uh, according to last year's deal, there was 19 in January last year and 12 in February. So it's actually not as
Right.
bad this year. They're just
They're
on the
politicizing it.
news more.
Yep. They're politicizing it because the administration is getting rid of people that aren't doing their jobs.
So they're trying to
And
make a
that's a
point.
whole nother, right. And that's a whole nother issue. I mean, they're politicizing it. I would be curious to see the findings of the investigations to see whether it was mechanical error, pilot error. The one that happened in D.C. Um, the one that happened in D.C. was, I think, a pilot error. I really do. The helicopter shouldn't have been flying at the altitude it was flying at.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what's been found. I'm speculating. I really don't want to point the fingers. It was tragic. This one where it here last week that flipped over, luckily nobody died. Everybody was strapped in on landing. Was that pilot error? Was that mechanical?
Or was
Because
it a microburst?
I take that right. Was it ground effect? What caused it? I mean, there's so many factors that could factor into a situation. Um, I personally, I take it personal, even though I may not have touched that airplane or whatever. I take it personal because, like I said, that's the world we live in. I've seen mishaps from pilot error that cost aircrew their lives. Um, I've seen mishaps from mechanical error that could have cost people their lives.
Same.
And it's a pucker event, and I'm Enzo. I'm sure you have. In your time, you've seen incidents happen, and it's a pucker factor. You're like, oh no. I mean, what did I touch that airplane? What did I do wrong? That's the first thought that goes into your mind when an incident happens on something that you worked on. What did I miss? That's anybody in their right mind is going to do that, unless the individual just doesn't care. That's why I tell everybody I talk to about going into aviation, I'm like, if you're not passionate about aviation, stay away from it. You got anything else on that, Mark?
I really don't. That was an
Okay, 'cause
interesting
Ken's got
piece of
something up.
data, though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like I said. I mean, I want to say, yeah. Enzo said the last few years he's worked in the safety office and investigated mishaps. He's seen a lot. Yeah, you can't be in this industry for a long time or just a few years and not see something.
Yeah.
Not hear about something because we're always, the company we work for is pretty well known, and we're always getting mishap reports, and we're like, crap, was that built here or was it an old airplane? What was it? And I promise you, that's probably the first thought when somebody hears about it. Like, crap, I know the person that probably worked on that airplane, or especially when they're newer and they were built where we work. Was it pilot error? Was it mechanical? And it's a pucker factor. I mean, it really is. Let's see, Ken. He said, "What are your thoughts on the new moon and planetary alignment this Thursday and Friday? Do you think it's the birth of a vibrational increase and openness to new weirdness, higher levels of consciousness on March 1st?" I don't
I
know
have no
anything
clue.
about that, honestly. But I'm seeing rumblings.
I know who to call.
Yeah. I'm seeing rumblings something about March 4th. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's in the conspiracy world or what. Like I said, I'm seeing rumblings on X about March 4th. So I really don't know, Ken. Let's see what I got here. I'm scrolling through X right now. Like I said, I've kind of gotten addicted to X. There's a lot of information on there.
There's a lot
A
of
lot of
crap
people
on there too.
melting down too. There absolutely is. You got to sift through it. I don't know, but yeah, I'm seeing here. I'll just see. Yeah, it says the Great Revealing. Um, yeah, Enzo said planetary alignments like this one are coming up. Like this one coming up happen fairly often every 8 to 12 years, where all the planets are visible in the sky at one time. So I don't know, but yeah, I've seen a lot of people on the 4th. Uh, this post said, "Mark this date on your calendar, March 4th, 2025. The Great Revealing. Trump announced that he will be addressing joint Congress. Every member of Congress is told their presence is mandatory. Every network must carry the address live. In my honest opinion, this will be the date forever noted in history as a great revealing," which I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I don't even want to speculate on what it's going to be. So, but there's
Who
several
knows?
people posting about March 4th, so keep an eye on that.
Hell, as
You
far
guys
as
know
I
how I
know, it
think.
could
I'm
be.
very.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys know how I think. I'm conspiracy minded, so I'm going to keep my conclusions to myself on what I think. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Anyway, you're saying, Mark?
I said, yeah, as far as I can know, it could be he's coming out with a new recipe book he wants everybody to buy.
Right.
It's a
Right.
mystery.
So who knows? Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, there is so much happening. Like I said, there's so much happening right now that I mean, we're notorious for going down rabbit holes.
This is the
And
year for it.
this would oh man, we could spend months just talking about what's happened this month.
Yeah,
And it really that I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with preparedness or anything like that, but these shows are kind of fun to kind of look and see what's going on and talk about it and just try to inform people because that's kind of what we're about. I mean, sure, we focus on preparedness for the most part. Um, but yeah, it's everything's speculation right now. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of politicization. I mean, he's going to kill it. He's got 30 days and the economy's going to crash. And I've seen that, which if things don't happen right, that's a possibility in reality. Let's see. Ken, sorry. I said, let's try this one. What about the moving North Magnetic Pole? How will it affect aircraft and military and us and everything? I think if it's a magnetic pole, I don't think it's going to affect us too much. It will affect aircraft, because they're going to have to recalibrate compasses, things like that. It will
they
probably
recalibrate
affect
the compass roses
migratory
every
birds
year.
in some. Right. So I mean, it's going to affect migratory birds, I think, in some aspects. So we'll see. I mean, it's been wobbling. It's been moving the last couple of years. I think we've probably touched on it a time or two.
It's actually slowed down.
Um, yeah, I can't remember. For some reason, 35 miles sticks in my head,
Yeah,
but
it
I
used to
may be
be
wrong that it's moved.
-7 minutes per year. Now it's -6 minutes per year. And has
How?
stayed that way for a couple of years.
Yeah, how far is a minute? Do you know
I
when it comes
am not
to
sure. I think there's 60
what?
minutes in a degree.
I think. Hey, I'll ask Grok. We'll play with Grok a little bit.
Yeah.
How far is 1 minute? I can't even spell it. how would I put that? How far is 1 minute on a geographical scale? Does that sound right?
60 minutes in 1 degree. Yeah.
Okay.
1 degree is 60 minutes.
Let's see what Rock says here.
We might have to hire Grok as our co-host.
Yeah, yeah, it said the same thing. So 1 minute of longitude, there is 1100 or 111 kilometers divided by 60 equals 1.85 kilometers, 1.15 miles is a minute. So about a mile.
So
it's really not
6 miles a year. 7.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
Not really,
but it adds up.
Not in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. Yeah, so who knows? I mean, I don't know how much effect it will have on us in particular, personally. Like I said, aviation, migratory birds, I think would be the biggest effect just because of the magnetic pole.
Yeah. And there's geological evidence that it's happened tens of thousands of times. So,
right. Yeah, was it the iron or something in the ore or in the rocks or something like that, or is pointing a different direction or moving or something like that?
Yeah, it's in the mantle, I believe.
Yeah. Enzo said, to be fair, it's always moving around, depends on a lot of variables. In general, our magnetic field is in a weakened state due to a pole flip. That happens every couple dozen years as well. Yeah. I remember when we first heard about this, I mean, people were kind of up in arms, like, oh, no, it's going to cause, catastrophic devastation and all that. And obviously,
too many people watch Waterworld.
Right. Now, a physical pole shift, yes, but
that would jack everything
up. Yeah. But a magnetic pole, it is kind of what it is.
And it's been all over the place. If you look in lava flows over time, they can measure which way the magnetic fields are going in these lava flows as they dig down. And so they can count how many times the poles have moved or flipped just by digging down and measuring those magnetic lines. And the answer is way more than you think.
Yeah. Yeah, Enzo said, well, a variant's not a full-blown pole flip. I should have been more clear. And a full-blown pole flip happens every couple 100,000 years, yeah. I think that would probably, if it was a full-blown pole flip, I think that would really affect compasses and things like that. And yeah, I mean, that's what I was about to say. Enzo said we're about due for that too. And I think that goes into Ken's comment. He says he wonders if he's getting near the north-south polar shift. And that's a possibility because it's happened before. I mean, the older I get, in my 47 years of wisdom, there's nothing new under the sun.
Mm-mm.
I really don't think there is.
So.
Let's see. 183 times in the last 83 million years, with the most recent flip occurring around 780,000 years ago, meaning a pole flip happens roughly every 450,000 years on average.
So it looks like we're overdue.
Yeah. Something I'm seeing is some, again, and we kind of go through it every year, seeing rumblings about Yellowstone, possible earthquakes and all that and whatever. So that's kind of one of those things. Well, maybe not. I mean, it will or it won't. It's kind of one of the. We have no control over it. There's nothing we can do about it. We've got one of our first shows was on Yellowstone.
Yeah, and the thing is, we'll have some warning. We'll be able to do something like move if necessary.
Yeah. Right. but there is rumblings about it. There's earthquakes, but there's always earthquakes out there. Because
It's a
it's
caldera.
a
It's gonna quake.
volcano. Yeah.
So I don't
Um.
see it being super likely. We had some data the last show we did on that. I can't remember. Something about the magma levels being too low for it to be any concern anytime soon.
Right. Ken Ken said he's running out of ideas. Maybe we're 999,000 and 100,000 happens on March 4th. Maybe I don't know. I'm paying attention to it just to kind of see what happens over the last several years. Watch this day and watch this day and watch this day, and it all turns out to be a big nothing burger. Nothing happens. So we'll see. I don't put a lot of stock into that. I don't know. Let's throw this out there. I'm not trying to be extremely political, but with Kash Patel coming in, did you hear that Dan Bongino was offered the assistant secretary job?
I did.
Personally, I think it's a good thing. I really support Bongino.
Yeah, he was a
I
good
think
cop.
I think he's trying to do something. But what do you think about Pam? Was it Bondi, our new AG? Said that she has the Epstein list, and Kash Patel gave it to her. I don't know. I'm guessing. This is kind of a total shift on subject, but I guess Kash Patel, his first day in office, gave her the list. I don't know if they're looking for charges or investigations, starting investigations or what on the Epstein list. I want to see it come out.
Yeah, she says it's sitting on her desk for review.
Yeah.
So
I want to see it come out. And I don't care right or left. If you're on the list and you're investigated and you're found guilty, you're charged and you're tried and you're found guilty. You deserve a fair trial. 100%. That's our justice system. That's the way it should work. You deserve to go to prison for a long time if you're found guilty.
That was some pretty nasty crap.
Yep.
P. Diddy.
But I want to know. Yeah, same thing.
Same thing.
Have you noticed? Is it just me? Yeah, I will too, Chris. Chris said should be extremely disappointed if it's not investigated. Have you noticed the last probably right? I agree with that, Enzo. Enzo said he'd like to see it as well. Just remember, being there doesn't mean you did anything wrong. If you went several times, that's another issue. Absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. That's why I
if you
say
kept going back for more.
If you're charged and tried and found guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt, you deserve to go to prison for a long time.
Now, that being said, some of those trips might very well have been innocent meetings because it's an excellent place to have a secret meeting for political or business purposes. I get that. And some of those people who visited may have thought that that's why they were invited.
Right. Anyway, what I was trying to say before I went into a coughing fit, is it just me? Maybe I'm just noticing it in the last couple months. But have you noticed, kind of along the same lines of Diddy or whatever, have you noticed Hollywood is like falling off? Nobody cares what Hollywood thinks. Nobody is paying attention to what's going on in Hollywood.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Because they're realizing these people are just running their mouths. They have no say. They have no clout.
Yeah, they've destroyed their own credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And they're surprised.
Right. Well, aren't people listening? Well, because you're an idiot.
Shut up and act. Shut up and sing.
Exactly. Dance, monkey, dance. That's That's what you're
Yeah,
there for.
entertain us. That's your job.
You're there to entertain us, right? And I'm loving it because I'm seeing people wake up, and I'm not politically. It's happening, yes, but right, exactly right. Enzo, he said a celebrity endorsement doesn't mean squat anymore. Absolutely, man. It's
Yep.
100%.
Nobody cares.
And I mean, I couldn't tell you who's who anymore, who's the most popular actor anymore, or whatever, because I don't care. I don't. Oh well, I don't know names.
I don't even know how long it's been
Um,
since I watched an actual movie.
right. I think the last movie we watched was an old movie. And it was, as I say, old movie, but I mean, it was probably 20 years old. 20. What? It was The Knight's Tale. That came out in what, 2001? So what, 24 years old? That was the last movie we sat down and watched. And I really think that's the way people are going. They're kind of getting away from the movies, man. There's so much out there. And I think people's attention spans are so short now. They don't take the time to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Not to mention, there's some, as much as I hate to say it, there's some high quality stuff on like YouTube.
Yeah. There's
Channels
some
on
really
YouTube.
good shows
They're
on
putting
there.
out some really good quality stuff. Right? Nobody cares. And I don't know. I mean, it's part of it's me. I mean, yeah, Enzo, you're right. It says before social media, big stars were kind of mysterious except for appearances on the Tonight Show or a red carpet clip. Now we just see them being foolish on their own posts, just like everyone else. Right?
Yeah.
For sure.
And some of these people, the more they speak, the more you can tell that all they are doing is parroting what they've been told to parrot.
Right.
So,
Now that's come out with like all this money from USAID, going to Politico and all these different agencies, these news media companies. To me, that just kills their credibility even more because that just tells you they're taking payoffs from the government to be talking parrots. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing this money's being found.
right.
And it blows my mind that people. Now I'm getting a little political here. It blows my mind that these people are up in arms about Doge being in all these systems. You're finding this money that's going to Sesame Street in Iraq. Was it 24 million or something like that, or a trans comic book for Peru? Why is all that money going overseas?
Well, I can answer that question, Phil.
Oh, I
It's
can too.
money
I'm
laundering.
sure.
It's money laundering.
100%.
And I've heard
100%.
that one of the things that they're looking at investigating right now is how a senator or a representative can go to Washington, where the cost of living, last I looked it up, was $140 some a year for a modest middle income, and becoming millionaires making only 170 some thousands a year.
Right.
In 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're finding our answers.
Well, everybody knows the answers.
Yeah. Right.
Both sides of the aisle know the answers. You can't make that kind of money in a public office unless you are stealing from the American people, insider trading, or other illegal activities. You just can't.
Yeah, Enzo said a lot of money's earmarked for those silly things, never even made it to its destination. Right. Look at Haiti and the Clinton Foundation. I'm not just trying to pick on them, but everybody knows they're corrupt. So, it was billions of dollars sent down there, and there's only been like 8 houses built. Where'd that money go? um, all the money to Ukraine. Zelensky's saying he only got a certain portion of it. Where'd the rest of that money go? You know, I'm all for what's happening.
Yeah,
Because
I
you're
want to know
watching,
where my money
and I
goes.
truly believe, right? And I truly believe the ones that are yelling loudest are the most guilty.
Usually happens.
Right.
Usually happens. I want to know
And
where every penny goes.
mhm, yeah. See, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm going to take it back to AI for a second. When the AI is fully online, you're not going to be able to hide that stuff.
Nope. You'll just ask Grok, uh,
Right.
where are my tax dollars going? And Grok's going to kick up and say, did you know that your senator just spent $1 billion on a new
Right.
vacation home on the moon? You know, that seems a bit silly, but I mean,
Right.
that's
I'm
just,
going to actually type that in. See what it says.
I love it. I love it.
Let's see what I just said. Where's our tax dollar going? It's all I put.
Or better yet, how do government officials get rich in 4 years?
Right. Yeah. My wife. Hey, babe. She said, will they actually be able to find evidence? That's a good question. Let's see what he says here. He says your tax dollars are funding a wide range of government activities. As of today, February 24, 2025, we can look at the most recent breakdowns to see where they're going for fiscal year 2024, which ended September 30th, 2024. The federal government spent about 6.9 trillion, roughly 24% of the U.S. GDP. Here's how that shakes out based on the latest data. About 75% of the budget goes to a few big buckets: Social Security, healthcare programs, Medicare, Medicaid, defense and veterans benefits, and interest on the national debt. Specifically, Social Security took up around 22% of spending. Think retirement checks for millions of Americans, healthcare, including Medicare for seniors and Medicaid for low income folks, grab another 24%. The rest is roughly a quarter. I'm just kind of skipping through it. Talking about revenues didn't cover it all. Yeah, I guess we could say something with the USAID. But when Doge came out last week, they were giving money for other European countries' medical care, and I about flipped out. The very Scandinavian countries and the socialists held it up as the best health care we paid. Right. Yeah,
Right.
Angel's
And we've talked
that, by
about
the
that
way.
before on the show
Um,
a year or two ago.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And like I said, I don't see how people can defend this. I really don't. I mean, and I'm not saying right, left, whatever. I've seen
Both.
comments from both sides defending or going against the Doge being in our system. Well, they got access to personal information.
So do I if I
Well,
want to
Musk
pay
is
enough
going to try to
money.
steal everybody's money. Right.
I can,
I
for
mean, and he'll,
$35 a month, I can find out anything about you.
right. Well, I love Musk's reply. He's like, um, I just drew a blank. Um, oh crap.
It's
PayPal.
all right.
Yeah. He's like, he said I owned PayPal at one point in time. If I wanted your information, then words are hard. Yes, sir, they are. um, but he said I own PayPal. If I wanted your information, I already have it.
Exactly. Everybody uses PayPal.
I mean, right. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get worked up over it. It's just a lot of political back and forth right now. People are mad because a light's getting shined on their pet projects that are filling their pockets, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
the light's on, and they're scattering like roaches. Did you see? You were talking about DC a little bit ago. Have you seen the cost of housing plummet in DC? because of
No,
all
I
the
have
layoffs and
not.
stuff. People are putting their houses up. Yeah, they're the cost of housing in DC is plummeting.
Maybe I should buy a house.
Yeah. What was the other thing out there? I'm trying to remember what it was. Um, but yeah, the cost of housing in DC is plummeting, and like one of the top Google searches is uh, looking for a good defense lawyer around DC. That's one of the top Google searches. Um, let's see. I'm gonna ask Grok. I think there was like three. The top three Google searches involved DC. Let's see. No, the Copa America soccer. I'm not gonna. It's pretty general.
So
But
I
yeah,
have
like
a
last week, it was like the. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead. I'll just
No, I
post
was
it
just
on
gonna
here in a
say.
minute.
I know last. I was gonna say. I know last week. One of the top Google searches was looking for a good defense attorney.
Yep. So here's what I found. So my data that I quoted a little bit ago has changed a little bit. Uh, I guess probably because the cost of housing is down. The median household income in DC is now $90,000,
Wow.
but 180,000 is still the top end of middle class. And our senators and representatives do not live low middle class. They're taking
No,
people to dinner. They're going to
absolutely they
fancy
don't.
restaurants. So,
Yep. I just love the fact that he's shining a light on the bureaucracy, on the unelected officials that are running this nation.
and see, that's something that I've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
Our leaders, quote unquote, that we elect can only have so much impact because the bureaucracy is so entrenched that it does provide stability because nothing ever changes.
Right.
But I mean, there's so many of these people who are retirement age or older who literally don't do anything but sit there and play on their phones. They're not working. They're sitting in an office or sitting at home in their home office, maybe just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
And you see it in
Yeah.
industry.
It's a absolutely you can, and I love the fact that he. I think I seen something like half of the government buildings that we're leasing or own or whatever are empty, and that's why they're trying to force people back into work. And everybody's panicking because, well, I can't go to work. I got kids to pay for and all that. And I agree, Ken. 100%. He said line item vetoes may have eliminated a lot of this waste. Yeah, I'm all for single subject bills.
Yep. Get rid of all the pork. And that's something that
Yep.
both sides are guilty of.
Oh,
Three
very.
sides or four sides if you
Absolutely.
count the other parties. Pork barrel spending has been
Yeah.
going on for 100 years or more.
Yeah.
And it's
And the
just
thing
wasteful.
is, the thing is, all the presidents before Trump, well, we're going to tackle pork barrel spending and wasteful spending and all that. It's just word salad. It's just a play on words.
Well, and how do you do
And
that when the bureaucracy is stymieing your efforts at every They don't want the pork barrel spending to stop. That's how they get paid.
Right. They're getting kickbacks for sure. I don't know, man. Um, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. In truth be told,
I'm
if
not
anything, I
unhappy at
mean,
all.
I think both of us on the show are very transparent. Um, we just kind of
For
share
better or
our
worse.
beliefs and move on. Even
Right?
though Grok says we get a little political sometimes, we do.
Well, Grok's correct. Grok
But
is
I
very
agree with that
smart.
too. Yeah, very
I
smart.
might have to hire him to be my
Um,
producer. I don't know.
right,
Somebody keep me in line.
right.
He
Ken, I
needs
agree
an
with that
arm so he
too.
can
Term
whack me.
limits, right? Um, well, who knows? There, I mean, I've seen. I can't remember how many numbers, but like almost more robots than people by like 2040.
Yep. Well, I'll need one to change my
So
diaper.
I don't know.
The time's coming.
Right?
My kids have already told me I'm going to a home, so
Oh man.
I know it's brutal. Threatened to tank their kids up with chocolate and Red Bull 101 times, and all of a sudden you're going to a home. I don't get it.
Yeah. That's no respect. That's the old Johnny.
Yeah, yeah.
Who am I thinking of now? Dang it, I can't remember his name.
Rodney
Oh, no
Dangerfield.
respect. Rodney
Yeah,
Dangerfield.
yeah.
I was thinking Johnny Dangerously or whatever.
There's not much difference there.
No. Ken said he's happy with the current results, but the methodology is extremely concerning. I can see that. I can't say I disagree. Um, but what I do like is we're seeing a sort of transparency, uh, more than we've
They're
ever seen.
telling us what they're doing.
Right.
Right or wrong, they're putting it everywhere.
Right. And I guess right or wrong, it remains to be seen. Are they going to go after everyone, or are they going to pick and choose who they go after? Is it going to be a political witch hunt?
That would be
If
wrong.
that's the case, I absolutely disagree with it. Absolutely. Wrong is wrong.
It needs to
We've
apply
heard the
to
last
every
4 years.
citizen.
Absolutely. We've heard the
Rich,
last
poor.
4 years. Nobody's above the law. Nobody. Yep. Well, let's put our money where our mouth is and prove that nobody's above the law. I don't care if you've been in the Senate for 40 years. If you're guilty, you
Especially
go to
if you've
jail.
been in the Senate for 40 years.
Right. So I don't know. I don't really have a lot more, Mark. I don't know if you got anything else you want to throw out there.
I don't really have a lot for this show. I mean, we could actually probably do a free for all every week and have plenty to talk about.
Probably. Right. Yeah, I don't have a lot more. I just wanted to get out and kind of share some things. I mean, because there's so much happening, it's hard to keep up with. So we kind of just cherry picked a few things and had a good conversation, man.
And Grok said our
Had a good
shows might be a
conversation.
little long.
He did. He said cut it down to 20, 30 minutes
And
because we ramble.
we already agreed that he's smarter than either of us.
Right? But it's fun to get on here and talk.
Yep, it sure is. And I love interacting with everybody on the comments. I love having everybody on here. That is an important part of the show. And we encourage you to encourage your friends to get on here and give us as good as we give.
Right?
Keep us honest.
I want to throw this right. I want to throw this out for listeners, for people in the chat. We'd love to have you in the chat. We enjoy everybody in the chat.
Absolutely.
The next show is the 10th because next week is on the Fringe. And then the show after that is the 24th. So 1 month. So a month. I want to do a listener Q&A on the 24th.
Sounds good to
You know,
me.
so if you don't have the opportunity to watch, go to, if you're a member of the What If Tomorrow podcast group on Facebook or What If Tomorrow Media. This is where it streams at What If Tomorrow Media. There's something to do with the uh, the connection or something because we connect to groups anymore. So if you have questions, if you have um, ideas, something to talk about, leave it on the Facebook group. Email us, whatiftomorrowpc@gmail.com. Any questions or whatever, if you want to hear us address, if you're curious about something, if you are getting into prepping, and you got questions, if you have a specific scenario that you want to hear about, that you have a question about, that you're concerned about, shoot us a message. You can even shoot us through Messenger. Um, whatever. I mean, whatever you do. I mean, we're not totally engaged on What If Tomorrow Media, but that's where our show streams to. But so if you're listening, watching, what have you, and you have a question, shoot us a message, or you can jump on the chat. Go to YouTube. What If Tomorrow podcast on YouTube. Go to YouTube. Join us in the chat. We always start at 7 p.m. Central. Yeah, that's a good one. Enzo said spring is almost here. Maybe some recommendations for a back porch bucket crops that people with green thumbs can grow like me, or without
I
green
can
thumb,
kill
a
any
green
crop.
thumb that can grow. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's spring's here. It's time to start thinking about it. I mean, price of groceries is still outrageous. So it's a good idea to think about planting and growing your own food. I mean, it's healthier anyway.
Yeah, even if it's just a portion, it's still money saved, and it's got to be healthier
Right.
for you.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on the Night Acres. We're going to start filming again. We got some stuff going. Let's see. I want to pull something up real quick before we get off here for those that watch on YouTube. And I know everybody doesn't have the opportunity. Give me just a second.
Bum 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 bum.
I gotta pull it real quick. And then, yeah, I gotta pull it up. My internet's kind of going a little slow. And of course, I got a 2-factor. Oh, I should have done
Often.
this before I wasn't thinking about it. Well, it just kind of reminded me because my son is up here next to me. Small greenhouses are very affordable. Yes, they are.
And you can find some really nice small greenhouses on places like Amazon, or even Temu has them.
Right.
Aluminum frame with. So they're nice.
So I got to share this, especially because he's right here and I'm going to embarrass him. But I took him out for his first rabbit hunt Saturday, and he got his first rabbit. So not only is he learning something that could help him, but he's getting into something that could take him through his life. I mean, a hobby, provide food. We have to focus on our younger generations and teach them skills that they can use. He's pretty pumped. He wanted to go again yesterday after church. We didn't make it out there.
Hunting is good for a lot of things. It's good for providing food. It's also good for conservation. Rabbits can be considered pest control. So there's just so much to learn from being out in nature and learning to respect it.
It teaches you nature. I mean, nature's tough.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Anyway, I mean, we can touch more on this later. Not a big deal. But I wanted to share that because he's sitting right next to me, checking it out, and I'm proud of him. He tried to clean it, but we got to the gut part, and he kind of got grossed out. But I get that.
I'm not gonna lie, it is a little gross.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, it stinks." I said, "All rabbits stink, man. Just about everything stinks,
The
especially when you
worst
shoot with a
thing,
shotgun."
worst thing is squirrels.
Oh
Squirrels
yeah,
stink more than anything else that
yeah.
I've
And you wouldn't think so
seen.
small as that. You'd think a deer or something like that. And deer do stink, but the little varmints, man, they're the ones that stink the worst.
Yeah, squirrels are tough to dress. I'd rather dress two
Right,
deer than one squirrel.
right. It's easy. I mean, for sure. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you hanging out in the chat. Like I said, the 24th of March is our next show, or that show. We want to do a Q&A or topics recommended by you guys, and so by all means, message us on Facebook, email us. With
If you
that, we're
know us,
just
hit
going to
us up.
yeah, absolutely. If you know us and you want to hear something, we'll talk to you or talk on here, whatever we want to do. It doesn't matter. We'll give it a shot. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us, and we'll see you next episode.
Good night, folks.